Hello and welcome to the first edition of Building for Success, Salem-Keizer's monthly video update on the 2018 Construction Bond Program. You'll want to be sure to watch every month to stay up to date on all of the improvements that are being made across our district. Thanks to our community's support of the 2018 bond measure, our schools will soon provide safer, less crowded learning environments and more educational opportunities. We are so grateful for our community's commitment to our students. In about 3 months, construction will begin on our first bond project, right here at Gubser Elementary School in Kaiser. Gubser's enrollment last school year was over the school's capacity by almost 80 students. Plans for Gubser include building 3 additional classrooms, a new cafeteria and kitchen, and removing the old portable building. We are expecting construction to start here in December, and the new spaces should be ready for students by fall of 2019. The total $619.7 million bond package breaks down into 5 major categories of work. The largest of these categories is $442.2 million that's dedicated to addressing the space needs in our district, like the work that's planned here at Gubser. In today's show, we're going to talk more about the kinds of space that are being added across the district. Let's go back to the central office for an interview with Mike Wolfe, Salem-Keizer's Chief Operations Officer, who will help us dig a little deeper into this category. Mike, give us an overview of what the $442 million in the bond package for additional space will do for the district.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the largest portion of the bond, and that's where we're really focused on addressing current and future overcrowding based on population growth, student enrollment growth. We're also looking at expanding common areas like cafeterias, libraries, gymnasiums, as well as career and technical education, special education, and also support for our music program.
Awesome. So how many schools overall in our district are going to see some kind of additional space or expanded space?
29.
29.
Yep,
okay.
We have 17 elementary, 6 middle, and our 6 comprehensive high schools. Roberts will also receive a CTE space addition.
Fantastic. Okay, so the first 2 high schools that are scheduled to start construction in our district are scheduled for next summer, 2019, and that's McNary High School and North Salem High School. So can you tell us a little bit about what's planned for the expansion of those high schools?
Yeah, happy to. In fact, I've got a couple of schematic designs that I can walk you through.
Fantastic.
Perfect.
Go for it.
What you see here, now remember this is first floor, second floor for North. The existing main gym is right in this area, and it will be demolished. So this is one of our largest projects in the program. What we'll have here is a brand new main gym and a brand new auxiliary gym, new locker rooms, new weight rooms, new academic wing, both on 2 stories here, CTE space, 20 new general ed classrooms. This is also a place where we have one of our newcomer centers at the high school level, so we've accommodated that. There'll be a new satellite commons and a new satellite cafeteria as well. What you have here is a nice little horseshoe addition that really accentuates the existing site. Now remember, this happens during a school year. So that's part of the challenge of many of these projects, is that you can't complete them over a summer. So we're going to start in the summer of 19. We'll go through the whole academic calendar for 19 into 20, and then in the summer of 2020 wrap everything up. So in the fall of 20, you'll have a new high school at North. Similarly at McNary, we have the same kind of approach here. What you'll see is expansion off to the north of McNary. There's also a new front entrance that will be designed for McNary. So we're going to expand the front, reconfigure the entire entrance and flow of traffic so we can deconflict pedestrian, bicycle, parent drop-off, and also bus traffic. And again, the CTE expansion in the back. Again, this is another 2-story addition. You can see the CTE, special ed, and also the gen ed classrooms in the back. So these are 2 really exciting projects for the district.
So it seems that Salem and Kaiser must be desirable places to live because the district and the communities keep growing. So additional space is being added to not just relieve overcrowding, but to plan for future enrollment, correct?
Right.
So what can you tell me as far as how far into the future are we expecting the expansions will serve?
We're really confident that these expansions will handle the next 10 years worth of growth, and in some cases even longer. Like for instance in West Salem we're looking at 15, potentially 20 years as well. Okay. So we're well positioned for the future.
Fabulous. So Mike, could you tell us a little bit about the career technical education spaces, or what we sometimes call vocational education spaces, that are going to be added, and why are those important to our students?
Yeah, that's some of the most exciting aspects of this bond, really, because we know that anything that keeps our students engaged helps them through the whole process of graduation. And so we have evidence that demonstrates that CTE really improves the graduation rate and also helps our students be prepared for life after high school, which could be college or it could be career.
Fantastic. How about the special education spaces that are being added to our high schools? What more can you tell us about those?
Yeah, those are, that's part of implementing our strategic initiatives around what we need to do differently to deliver services in our special education programs, students with special needs. And so in the high schools, we have additional special education spaces designed into the program so that each student will be able to graduate in their neighborhood high school, which we think is great. It reduces busing around the district, and it also brings that neighborhood connection back into the high schools.
All right, fabulous. Okay. So we've talked a lot about high schools so far. How does the additional space that's planned address the needs of elementary and middle schools?
So we know that what we really need to make sure is that our schools are set for the future to handle future enrollment and growth. And we know where that growth is projected throughout the district. So at 17 of our elementary schools, we have additions to accommodate growth that's been identified, and also to address deficiencies in schools such as Kaiser, our pod schools, for instance. And the pod schools were designed years ago without cafeterias. So if you can imagine a school of 700 students eating in their classrooms with a very undersized kitchen, then that's the definition of chaos, right? But it's also very distracting to the educational day, right? Because that's just the logistics of going, receiving the food, coming back to your classrooms, eating, cleaning up, and then getting back into the educational day. It's very distracting. And so we have cafeterias identified throughout the district. We also have library expansions. We also have common area expansions. We also have front entrances being secured in ways that don't exist today.
So how long do you expect it will take to finish all of the work planned in the bond program?
Yeah, that's a really good question. We've programmed the bond for a 5-year delivery. Okay, so that's where I would say, will it take longer than 5 years? Maybe, likely, but the vast majority of all of the investments will be completed within the first 5 years.
Super. So why is it important to try to do as much as we can early in the program?
Well, it's really about costs. We know that projects in out years are going to cost more. The market is really saturated right now, and we're seeing cost escalations across the region that we haven't seen in decades, quite frankly. So we're very diligent about staying to scope, schedule, and budget in this program.
Fantastic. Thanks, Mike. One more question for you. How will the district make sure that all of this additional space is put to use?
Okay, so during the long-range facility planning process, one of the requirements that we had to meet was to look at other than just build options, which really comes down to boundary review processes. And so we know where the projected growth is, and we've identified those 29 schools. But in order to really facilitate accommodating future growth, we as a district really need to initiate a boundary review process. And so we're talking right now with Flow Analytics about establishing a boundary review task force. And so that group will take a look at all of the forecasts, they'll take a look at where the bond projects are, and provide recommendations for any potential boundary adjustments so that we can address the future projections for the next 10, 15, and in some cases 20 years.
Well, fantastic. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
That's all we have today for our first issue of Building for Success. Stay tuned for our October issue, where we will talk more about the boundary adjustment process that Mike mentioned. Until then, keep reading your Monday Minutes email newsletter and keep an eye on the district website, salemkeizer.org, for more bond news.